here are your top things to know when getting your own Siberian Husky puppy. Do your research. There's a lot to this breed, a lot of fascinating history and great genetics, so you really want to know what you're getting into. They are known for being very mischievous, very playful, very independent, very willful, but all of these things can be a wonderful thing to learn how to bond with. I always suggest that people really look at their house because they love to roam. So even a husky that's really, really happy in the home, they might find ways to escape the yard and go explore the neighborhood. So they're known to be roamers. An interesting thing about them is even though they're very independent, like I mentioned before, they're prone to some separation anxiety. I think it has something to do with their history. They're meant to be in a pack working together. So being alone can be really tough for them. Now, the reason I mention that is because I want to make sure that you teach them how to be alone right from the very beginning. You can start implementing those steps early, and you really should right away. And that way they are prepped for it, for when you actually go to work. You've been starting from the time they were a little puppy of just having their own alone time away from you. That's important to start really quickly. Now let's talk about training. Now they tend to be on the vocal demanding side, and they can be very mouthy. They're one of the more mouthier vocal breeds. This is something you don't want to nurture, but you want to know that that's part of who they are, and you can kind of hone that in with food work. So that type of focus and drive and demanding energy, we kind of want to redirect it to something productive. So one of the ways that we like to do that with puppies is tons of food work. And so I would suggest hand feeding your puppy the first several weeks that you have them to build that focus and drive. Now, because they are more willful, it can be tough to wean off of food work, but you can do it. Just make sure you give them that mental stimulation of once you teach them a command with food and they know it backwards and forwards for several weeks, then you just say the command and you really wait them out, make them think about it, help them out with leash before delivering that food. But I really want to reinforce the fact that food is really useful for them at an early age, like the day that you bring them home. The other thing that I really want to stress about, owning a dog like a Siberian Husky is you want to associate yourself with calm and confident energy from day one. And so you don't want there to be a lot of chaos, a lot of vocalizing, running around, things like that. You don't want to utilize a lot of speed. You want to have your puppy look at you as this calm, confident person. So you want to be really focused when you work with your puppy. That way, as they get older and you do wean off of food and they reach their stubborn adolescent streak and you're trying to control some of that maybe mouthing and vocalizing and howling to the moon that happens a lot with them, when you're trying to control that, you want to make sure that you've got believability. And in order to have believability, you want to make sure you start your relationship with your puppy in a calm, soothing way that comes from a really confident place. And that's going to help you a lot build that relationship with your puppy when they reach adolescence and things get a little hairy. I think it's pretty obvious to say that they would prefer cooler weather, but I've seen them strive in warmer weather as well. But I won't lie, where I live and it's quite warm, whenever they go to the snow, man, they have a blast. So I think it's safe to say that they would prefer a cooler climate, but their fur is meant to regulate, their own body temperature. So they can handle some heat certain times of the year. I'll also say that when it comes to their general living conditions, I've also seen them thrive in lots of different scenarios. Even if you have a small space, if you are an avid outdoors person, it can work. It can definitely work. Just having a huge yard isn't going to make your husky happy. They need mental exercise. And so what I mean by mental exercise is not something that's just easy, like going for a boring neighborhood walk. They need lots of stimulation that's productive, like hikes or pulling something, as you can see from their history. They just need to be able to use that brain. You can do lots of obedience work or get into a sport with your husky. There's all kinds of ways that you can provide that to them, but just make sure you know that about them, that for the rest of their lives, they are a breed that needs quite a bit of mental work. They're so smart. They get bored really easily, and if life is too easy for them, they get into some shenanigans. Because like I said in the beginning, they're a very mischievous, playful breed.